Oh, okay. Hi, this is Wayne Bergeron, and you're listening to Triple Threat.
That's perfect. And welcome to Triple Threat. We are the all-talk, no-music show online about the Beatles, The Who, and Pink Floyd. And we are your 5 hosts this time around. That's right, we got a new record, so it's going to be total chaos today. My name is Tom Rutia, and joining me is Garrett Hicks.
Hey.
Peter Scharff.
Hey.
Avery Spencer.
Hi.
And his cookie.
I'm not going to stop.
and Becca Cristino. Hi, Becca.
Hello.
And our topic today is a pretty big one. It's the 50th anniversary this year of the Beatles album Rubber Soul. The Beatles' 6th album, released December 3rd, 1965 in the UK, December 6th here in the US. In 2012, Rolling Stone put it at number 5 of their list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. So we're going to talk about the album. We're going to go through all the individual songs for this album. And we're also going to be giving you our thoughts on all the songs and how it fits into the Beatles' discographies. So I thought quickly before we kind of get some history about it, let's kind of give like overall our thoughts on Rubber Soul as an album, what it means to us now. So Becca, let's start with you on this one.
This one is always flip-flopped with Revolver for my favorite Beatles album, just like my favorite one. Like it just has its own unique sound, and it's just great.
Yeah.
That's well said. Garrett, you want to pick up from that?
Sure. Yeah, this one's always been one of my favorites too. For a while it was my top album. It's not anymore, but it's still definitely up there.
Yeah.
It's got this little charm to it. This is the first teaspoon of weirdness that the Beatles ever show.
Yeah.
So I that's mainly the reason I really like it. You can just see the beginning of things that will lead to Sgt. Pepper.
Well said. All right. Well, what about you, Avery?
I really like this album. I think even Help really starts it, but I think this sort of cements it as the sort of changing of the Beatles. Help is sort of the first album that's not Please Please Me-ish.
Yeah.
But this is really sort of leads you on to the sort of latter half of the Beatles. I don't know if it's my top favorite Beatle album, because like that whole Rubber Soul through Abbey Road kind of all fight for my top favorite Beatle album. They're so hard to pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually probably going to jump up what you were saying about, yeah, you're right. Help had a lot of songs that showed a progression in their songwriting. Things like Help, You Gotta Hide Your Love Away, Yesterday on
a lot of people think it's just this snap of fingers with Sgt. Pepper, but it's really sort of a slow slide from Help to Rubber Soul to Revolver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, Help has some songs that are still considered, Beatle-ish, like pop. But once you get to Rubber Soul, you have a lot more mature songs. There are like one or two, in my opinion, that are, like could have been on like earlier albums. But this album has a lot more. The majority of the songs are more mature.
But there are songs that feel like they're halfway there, like Drive My Car. That feels like it's halfway in the old half, 1 foot in the old half, 1 foot in the new half of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Right, and Help has that too. I mean, Help the album. I mean, like you look at a song like
Even Help.
Yeah, even Help the song, even though it has a very mature lyric to it, the chords to it are very poppy. But this album, like what I'm saying, it has a lot more mature songs. And so this one, to me, it kind of sets like the transition of Beatles pop to more mature songwriting, a little bit of weirdness that's gonna happen, especially when you get to Revolver, because Revolver you have mature songs and you have weird sounds. You don't really have a lot. You don't have a lot of weird sounds on this album. Revolver, you would get you would get I'm Always Sleeping, Tomorrow Never Knows, Love You Too. Whereas on this album,
there's like Norwegian Wood, and there's a couple other weird ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you rated? What about you, Peter?
I like the album. I feel like a lot of it is just there as filler, but I like all the good songs are really solid good songs.
I feel like Beatles filler is kind of better than anyone else's filler.
True.
It's sort of the weakest link, and if something so strong is still stronger than someone else's strongest link.
I just get tired of the upbeat. Everyone sings at the same time.
Clap your hands.
I get tired of chords.
I would agree with that because especially when they toured off of this album, this was I think one of, if not the last tour that they ever did. And so so even touring, they were trying to get away from the whole clap your hands and stamp your feet thing to it. They were just playing live shows. In fact, two songs that we'll talk about, two songs from this album were actually played live during the 66 tour.
To varying success.
Yes, some people like them and some people don't.
I meant the live performances were met with varying degrees of success.
Oh, okay, that's true, because
Yeah.
they had empty seats for the first time.
No, I meant just the songs. They weren't happy with the way they performed them sometimes.
Got it.
Yeah.
I understand that. Well,
Yeah.
with all that said, did you want to say something?
Oh well. One point that I was thinking about earlier, I found it hard to listen to all at once. I will say like a lot of the songs are good. I can listen to a lot of like the B-sides from this album, but I can't listen to all at once just because it's very similar
Yeah.
tones back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
Sure.
All right. Well, we'll get into that. Well, now that we have sort of like an overall feel for the album, I thought I would do a little background on the album because there's not that much backstory, but it's actually really fascinating. Like I said earlier, the album came out in December 3rd, but the album didn't start recording until October 12th. Now, you put this into context. This is 1965. They had just done Help, the album, the movie. They had just done the biggest live concert they ever did at Shea Stadium. This is August of '65, and when they get to October, they're put into the studio to make this album because the Beatles were under contract at EMI to make 2 albums every year and at least one non-LP single. Well, that's how that was how they worked back then. That was what kind of kept them breaking out with new material.
Yeah, but the fact that they were able to do it with such consistent success is amazing. A total testament to their talent.
And that's not even the best part. By the time they got to recording on October 12th, the first time that they were in the studio for this album, many of these songs had not even been written yet. So the fact that they were able to come up with material fairly quickly and this strong to me is like nothing short from incredible. And also, that they had to come up with a single, which wasn't on the album, which was Day Tripper and We Can Work It Out. So even then, that was 2 more songs that were very, very good, and they weren't even chosen to be on this album. A few things that I will say about the album is that I did say it shows some new sounds, like Peter said, the sitar, and you have the sped up piano in like In My Life, and you also have a much more sophisticated songwriting, probably because this is 1965. This was the year that John Lennon said the Beatles were smoking marijuana for breakfast. So
I don't think that had everything to do with it.
it probably had something to do with it, since the people say the pot gets the creative juices flowing, so they were able to write a lot more. Plus, it was just this time in their life that they didn't want to do the "Thank You Girl," "P.S. I Love You" songs anymore. The Beatles were always maturing and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing that I want to talk about Rubber Soul is the title, and we discussed this. We discussed this when we were doing our podcast about My Generation. The name Rubber Soul is kind of a play on the term plastic soul, which was a term coined in the 60s, especially for Brits, of white people singing R&B music. In fact, the Stones were often put under the plastic soul category because some people looked at them and said, oh, they're not real bluesmen, or they're not real soul men. So it was like plastic soul. They had some soul, but it wasn't real. And so like, what else is another substance besides plastic? Rubber. And that's kind of believed that's where the title generated from.
It's also a play on how they the sole of a shoe.
Yeah,
It's
that's
rubber.
what I was thinking. Like SOLE, soul.
Well, that's how it's spelled.
No, it's spelled
No,
SOUL.
Oh, so sorry. I can't.
Aw.
I got
It's a double pun. My God.
I gotta eat more.
It's blowing Tom's mind.
I gotta eat more cookie. Just a couple of last things to touch on before we get to the tracks. The cover was also one of the first times that the Beatles really, impressed people with the cover.
With their chili bowls.
What?
With their chili bowl haircuts.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
They've had those for a while. The thing about this one is the fact that they slide went down when they were
Those are
showing them
just
things, and I thought that was on purpose.
Yeah,
they-
they were looking at, someone had
Robert
the
Freeman.
the photographer had taken a few pictures of them in the park, and he said, okay, he set up a piece of cardboard and said, all right, here's how we're gonna just show you this way, and they picked the picture on the cover, and I said, okay, good, and then the cardboard that they were projecting on fell over, and they said, wait, that's it.
And so that was used. That was used as the cover.
So it's a bit distorted in that way.
Mm-hmm. And then the last thing that I want to briefly touch on before we get to the tracks is actually the track listing, because here in the U.S. This was still when the Capitol EMI albums were still not the same, and so when the album was sent over here to the U.S., a couple of songs were taken off. In fact, 4: "Drive My Car," "Nowhere Man," "What Goes On," and "If I Needed Someone" were all taken off, and they were replaced by "I've Just Seen a Face" and "It's Only Love." Both were from the British Help, because those two songs had not been released yet in the United States.
I actually have one of those pressings. It was my dad's.
Yeah, in fact, my dad has. I think my dad actually has 2 pressings. In fact, he still said, to this day, even with Revolver on CD, he's still not used to hearing "Drive My Car" as the opener. You put it in, you're supposed to hear "I've Just Seen a Face," and the reason why it was believed why they did this, because they took out "Drive My Car," "Nowhere Man," which are pretty electric, and so is "What Goes On" and "If I Needed Someone," and they put on the acoustic "I've Just Seen a Face" and "It's Only Love," and it's generally believed it was done that because in '65 there was the folk rock boom. Of bands like the Lovin' Spoonful, the Byrds.
Dylan.
Well, Dylan at this point had gone electric, and so the folk scene was kind. Yeah, so the folk scene was kind of dying, I guess, in a way. So this was released to sort of capitalize on the the Beatles do folk too, ish.
Sort of.
So that was that was what.
That was what went on.
It won't happen in the U.S. And what's kind of interesting to me, and we'll get to this, is they say it was done to sort of sound like the Byrds, and they take off the most Byrdsy song on the album, "If I Needed Someone." But
well done.
But we will get to that when we get to the track listing. So let's start with the track listing. The album opens with "Drive My Car," as Avery alluded to earlier. Kind of is like in their cute phase. You got the beep 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 beep, yeah, and
beep 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 beep, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then you got words like "peanuts." When I was a kid, made me giggle so much. I was like, yeah, I love this song, and I still love this song.
I never really thought it was a kiddie song. I just thought it was a fun song to listen to. Is all. And age range doesn't matter to it.
Right. I still love it. What do you think, Peter?
Oh, it's a great song. It's a perfect poppy rock song. It's everyone can sing along to it, and you can't not smile when you're listening to it.
Right.
That's a good point.
Exactly. It's very fun and lighthearted. It's very just airy. It's just a fun song.
Yeah.
It's very Paul.
It is very Paul.
It's totally Paul.
Right, because only Paul really, and he still plays it live, and he still gets the crowd singing and up in their seats.
In fact, it's
He
so
did that
Paul.
at the Super Bowl, didn't he?
He did. He opened with it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's so Paul that he actually plays the guitar solo on it.
That is
instead of George, unless I'm mistaken. That's right, isn't it?
Don't know, but you know what? One of our fans will write in and tell us.
Pretty sure.
One of both of them.
One of both of them.
Pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the first time I heard this song, I only knew it as the Beatles song with the beep beeps in it. Yeah, I
think I did too. Actually,
I was 10 or something. Yeah, it was fantastic. I especially like the story in the song. It's just so silly and funny and stupid, and it's endearing.
I think I've heard the love version more than I've heard the original, because I always want to sing like what you're doing and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the love version.
And say the word and you'll be free.
The love version is great. In fact, the love version, speaking of Paul's solo, the love version brings in Taxman for the guitar solo.
Yeah.
So,
That one's definitely Paul. I know that.
Yeah. So yeah, Peter's exactly right. And in fact, you're all right. It's a great opener, and to me, a song like this sort of has to be at the beginning, because it doesn't really fit like a lot of the things on the album, like in terms of like mature lyrics or whatever. So you have to put that at the beginning to because imagine you're in '65 as a Beatles fan, you put on the record and you go like, wow, brand new Beatles songs, so so poppy. So to me, a song like that has to be at the beginning.
You listen to this and like, it's the Beatles.
It is kind of
It leads you into it. It clears the air for what's about to come. It's like if you're working with kids and you have to have them, get the sillies out before you have to sit them down and get them to pay attention.
Yeah.
I don't like kids.
Wow.
Totally unrelated.
Well then. You're no, I'm not gonna say anything.
I second that.
They suck.
I could probably third that. I worked in a hotel for a while.
No.
I hated them. Well, yeah, and that continues into the second track, which is Norwegian
Kids.
Wood. No kids in this song. Sorry, the kids in this song. Actually, I'll get to this because when I was a kid, I didn't understand this song at all. But this is Norwegian Wood. This bird has flown. John writing about an affair without trying to say that he had an affair, as he said so himself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the thing. That's what happened.
Right.
I don't care.
I did not know
This is
about
one of
that.
my favorite songs.
This
That's
is
pretty.
yeah. This is one of my favorite Beatles songs of all time. In
Oh,
fact, it's so cool. Like when I bought the 2009 the remaster, I think this was the track I first went to, and just the opening acoustic guitar, just that alone, just was like blown away. It was so clear, and it really kind of sets the tone as this is going to be a story song. The way that it's
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, it's very. The song itself is very folky to begin, and there's this. The mind blowing addition of the sitar.
Yeah.
It's just my
Yeah.
God, that's
Just-
amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody
hanging out
west of Britain
India.
probably everybody who was listening to this, an English speaking audience, will hear this and like, what is that sound?
Where did Ravi Shankar come from?
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, and you mentioned Ravi Shankar, is that George,
They hang out with him, right?
George is playing. Yeah, George did hang out with him, but the fact that George isn't playing the sitar like Ravi Shankar would. Ravi Shankar, would play the sitar sort of how it's meant to play. In this song, George is playing it like a guitar because he had just picked it up and was kind of just fiddling with the notes around. But Garrett's right; it's got this great sound to it. It kind of adds this bit of, not to get too psychological, this foreign thing, and the song is called Norwegian Wood, and so
Mhm.
it really plays really well, and it adds an. It does. I make no apologies. It fits really well, and the funny thing is that this is, the sitar was never really, for lack of a better word, meant to be on it. It just the song kind of needed something, and George just picked it up, found the notes, and the rest is history.
Yeah. I also really like the story behind this one too. Like not behind it, but in the song. I didn't for a long time realize what was being said in the story. I didn't interpret it correctly. I thought originally that it was the guy who was trying to sleep with the girl in the song, but then I realized it sounded later when he comes. It's the other way around,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the one who's like, I don't think so.
Well, the thing,
And so he burns her house down because
'Cause-
logic.
Sure.
I still don't
Fine.
understand this. This song sort of just gets really, really vague
Yeah.
halfway through.
Well, it's very much a song that sounds like it takes place in a dream.
Well, the thing is with this song, like, first of all, it's a complete story in about 2.5 minutes. So one, credit to John's songwriting, right there. And second of all, Avery is kind of right. Like when I was a kid, I had really no idea what was going on until I started like reading into the lyrics. And and the thing about it, this is John at this age. And for lack of a better word, John's a bit of a playboy. He likes to sort of use women. Well, the song starts and says, I had a girl, or actually, she had me.
Yeah.
Because John is being used in this song. And later in this song, you realize John didn't really like being used.
Right.
A bit-
And it's interesting he says had, because in Britain that tends to also mean had sex with. So it could go either way on that. It's really fun playing with words like John always does.
Well, see, I never thought they actually did have sex because
I didn't either.
because like he comes into the house, trying to score with her, and he's making small talk and say, "Oh, isn't it good Norwegian wood? Like, the wood's pretty in the house.
That's her furniture, yeah.
yeah, nice house, so to speak." And then later, she goes to bed and he sleeps in the tub, thinking that maybe he still has a chance. And he wakes up, she's not there, and so he lights a fire. Isn't it good Norwegian wood? And I'm thinking to myself, you're admiring the furniture again. You admired the furniture earlier.
He's comically saying, "Ha, this Norwegian wood. It makes great firewood."
Well, that's the
Burns
thing.
Burns
say.
nicely.
Well, that's the thing. It's you admired the wood earlier in the song. What's so cool about it this time? Oh, I know. You're admiring it because it's burning so well.
Yeah. And
So
what
it's
you
a
were
song-
saying.
So it's a song about blue balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically,
That's it.
yeah.
Accompanied by
she-
very clever wordplay.
She gave him the blue balls.
Right. But to me,
No, the other way around. He gave her the blue balls.
but
The-
And then your house. Now.
Metaphorically.
Something had to get hot and heavy. Might as well have been the burning debris from her house.
I
Exactly.
always thought he was just sitting at a fireplace.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought as a kid. It was just John. She was gone, so John lights a fire and just
sat there and looked depressed.
just sat there and looked depressed and thought, "Damn, I didn't get a chance to sleep with her."
No, it's because she's trying to sleep with him, but he doesn't want to.
Right.
That's why.
So
That's
that's
why.
why he's hiding in the tub.
Yeah, that's why he
Basically.
leaves, and that's why there's no chairs in the room, and she sits on the bed, and he's like, "I'm gonna sit on the floor on this rug."
Right.
Awkward.
There are a couple John songs about weird women getting the better of him, like She Said, She Said, and Girl.
Yeah. Even. Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
He had issues.
Well, She Said, She Said's not on this one, is it?
No,
yeah.
it's on Revolver.
No,
Girls
but girls
on
on
here?
this album.
Yeah.
I like that.
Issues,
We'll get to it.
issues, and more issues.
Yeah. God bless him. John had issues.
Very troubled man.
Well, Becca, what else?
Damn.
What else do you have to add to this song?
I think we pretty much covered it all, essentially. Just the storytelling, the clever wordplay, how it's
Wood.
easily agreed to be one of people's favorite Beatles songs.
Mhm.
Like, it's just a good song with that distinct, weird sound of the sitar.
Yeah.
It definitely shows them exploring new frontiers.
Yeah. In 2010, Rolling Stone on their 500 songs of all time, they put this as high as number 83.
Yes.
So just a testament to just what a great song it is. And yeah, I would agree. It's one of my absolute favorite Beatles songs. So let's move on to the third track. This is "You Won't See Me." This is Paul's first really mature song in this. Writing about his girlfriend Jane Asher. And the funny thing that I love about this song, and I even as a kid, I knew that it was a song about you're not being very faithful to me. But as a kid, I still loved and I still love the poppiness of it and the ooh la 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 backing vocals. It's still I'm gonna say this over and over. It makes one of my favorite songs on the album.
Sure.
Easily.
Well, you say that, but it still sounds like it could be off Help or even earlier.
Yeah.
It still sounds like an early Beatles song to me.
Yeah, me too.
There are a couple songs in the early songs about breakups and stuff.
Like
Yeah,
yesterday.
So they have a similar vibe. Not even Yesterday, like...
Yeah, you mentioned this is one of his first mature songs. But I would say, Yesterday.
What's the song about the door? About the person at the door who's not answering?
Someone's knocking at the door.
No, it's
Let 'em in.
from early Beatles.
Can you hear me knocking?
That's the Stones, buddy.
Oh, I can't remember. No, it's like there's some person on the phone, and he's looking through her through a window, and he can see that she's
No
there.
reply.
No reply.
Is it
No,
no
it
reply?
reminds me of No Reply a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's fairly more mature than the things that came before it,
Right.
personally.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about Beatles for Sale. We're talking
Oh.
about You Won't See Me. Yeah,
Discussing songs based off vague descriptions.
You Won't See Me is always ranked kind of low on this album for me. I just don't feel like there's a lot to it.
I feel like it's sort of that weakest link scenario where it's a really good song, but it is one of the weakest links in this album.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, comparatively,
Saying it came
a
out
lot
of
of these songs could have been, like, top 20 hits for anyone else. But
Yeah.
when you compare them to the pure gold stuff on the album, they just don't hold up as well.
Which is true about a lot of Beatles stuff.
Like, You Don't See Me is a great song on its own, but the fact of what it's surrounded by, like,
Mhm.
it, coming right after Norwegian Wood is just unfair to any piece of music ever.
Yeah.
But on its own, like, You Won't See Me is a great song. The chord progression is just, like, lyrically aside, like, whether the lyrics are mature or not, musically, it just is really, really cool.
That's true of a lot of
I
Beatles
remember
stuff,
one
though.
of my friends telling me that the chord sequence from this, like the da 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 da, it actually comes into play in a lot of later alternative, like in the 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
Like there's a song by the Olivia Tremor Control. You guys probably haven't heard of that group.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, same.
You wouldn't have heard of them. Well,
Southern
those
Back-
nice
That's the
glasses.
Back
same,
in
like,
96.
same like chromatic, like downward
Those two.
walking thing. Like it shows up in a lot of bands later influenced by them, and just goes and takes on new. Like it's just a musically sound song. It's just unfairly placed with a lot of better songs.
Okay.
Well, not just alternative. I remember someone pointed out there was an Elton John song like in the 80s called Sad Song Say So Much, which is actually one of the titles of our podcast episodes.
Hey.
is.
where Elton John is that one's a little bit more happier because it's talking about if you get sad, just turn on the radio and sad songs say so much. Ooh la la la, ooh la la la.
Oh.
Ooh la la's are common background things to sing, but in my ear it sounded very similar to
Like
this
in
song.
the same descending kind of thing.
Exactly,
Ah.
exactly what you were talking about.
It brings into the mainstream the catchiness of like the downward chromatic thing.
Right.
Hmm.
So even if it wasn't the strongest Beatles song, they still had an influence really on
Yeah.
pop music.
They definitely had an influence. I don't know if y'all know this. They definitely had chromatically then an influence on Syd Barrett because
Easily.
a lot of his songs use chromatic, whether it's in Pink Floyd or solo stuff. He has a prodigious command of the chromatic scale.
Well,
Oh yeah.
this album also, we know this album influenced Brian Wilson the most. He's always talked about how he made Pet Sounds after hearing Rubber Soul.
Right.
And
Oh yeah.
and hearing songs like these kind of blew his mind and realized, people in popular music were making more sophisticated music and so could he. The other note I have to add about this song is that this song is a little over 3 minutes long. This is really the second song after Ticket to Ride where the Beatles have extended over 3 minutes.
Really?
So,
It's
oh
like
yeah.
eternity. Yeah, the whole album you see it's like between 2:15 2:45.
And then this song is like 3:27.
Right.
So if like that
fans.
alone probably is another thing to say. They were growing because they were able to make their songs longer, and it shows up in this song.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from everything had to be single length so that they would have a wide pool of things to choose from for their singles.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, the next song, "Nowhere Man," I believe it was a single here in the U.S. It was pulled by Capitol Records to promote the album because the album had no single either in the UK or the U.S. You had "Day Tripper," but it wasn't on the album. But Tripper, I know it's a great song. And I'm gonna say this again. It's always been one of my favorites, and it's like Avery said. Even though I love all the songs, I can take one and say it's the weakest link, but I still love it. But I do love it. This is "Nowhere Man." This was really another. You get two John songs in a row in Mature. John was trying to talk about how in this point in his life he kind of felt like he kind of really had no direction. So he did kind of feel like a nowhere man. Again, as a kid, I heard this song for the first time in the Yellow Submarine movie, and even to this day, like 20 years later, I still can't get the video clip out of my head. Like no matter where I'm hearing this song, I see the four Beatles, strutting and on the rainbow with Jeremy Boob, and it's great.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Becca, nowhere man.
I'm too busy laughing about Yellow Submarine right now. I forgot. Jeremy, Hillary, Boob.
PhD.
I forgot about that. Nowhere Man's a great
got the
song
whole
though,
movie
just like
bucket.
the lush harmonies and like it is still very Beatlesque, but like it takes it shows them maintaining their integrity but moving it forward in a
Yeah,
way. Like
for
it
sure.
sounds old Beatles but new.
Yeah. Man, this is like one of my all-time favorite Beatles songs. Like just listening to the harmonies at the beginning, it's gonna be good.
Oh
And
yeah.
the guitar parts on it, whether it's the solo in the middle or just the really long and delayed strums in the middle of it, it's just I love everything about this song. The lyrics are great, the melody's awesome. I can't stop praising it.
This song was actually used in a special about George Harrison. They used this song to demonstrate how George has one of the few guitarists who can make actual sing-along solos, and they picked this as the demonstration.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Beatle.
Yeah. Yes, it's so simple. You could just sing along to it really without even hearing it.
Yeah.
And this was one of the two songs from this album that the group did try live. And this song I think added more toward their wanting to not tour anymore because they were kind of getting kind of tired of it. The screaming fans or whatever, and especially the fans are so loud they can't hear themselves harmonize. And this song, which is all harmony all the time, when they played this one live, it probably helped them think, you know what? Yeah, this is not really our thing for us to do right now.
Yeah. Also, it's just becoming. It's them realizing that they're writing stuff that is probably too complex for the live music situation at the time. You know, any band now could probably knock this one out of the park had they written it. But at the time when the PAs weren't as powerful, when they were screaming fangirls because they were the Beatles, that sort of thing, it just wasn't viable. It wasn't feasible for them to keep doing it, which is
Coldplay
unfortunate.
Mhm.
Coldplay plays this?
No, they couldn't.
Oh, they could.
You know who has played this song? Smashing Pumpkins. They have played this one live.
That is very different.
Well,
Nice.
Yeah. You know,
I
Billy
can see
Corgan
that.
is the leader of Smashing
yeah.
Pumpkins. He's
He's the only original member in Smashing Pumpkins.
That's true, yeah, but
He
Yeah.
is Smashing. It's like Nine Inch Nails. It's only Trent Reznor, basically.
oh,
but he is a big Beatles fan.
Or Santana.
He's praised this song and
Well, it's
and
always
they
just-
do it live. Avery, did you have anything to say?
I really like Nowhere Man.
That's your comment.
That's my comment.
is that all you got?
I got nothing else to add. It's really good. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's always one of the first ones you hear because you get Yellow Submarines.
Yeah.
They're always the first thing you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got the video, playing in my head all these years later. All right. Well, we're gonna talk about one more song, and then we're gonna take a break. This is "Think for Yourself" by George. His first composition on this album. Again, Yellow Submarine. This was used in there. I mean, what can I say about this song? I've always liked it. Paul brings in the fuzz bass to play on this song. It really just gives it like an extra layer, and I just love this track.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really interesting to hear George's progression through songs. Like you can tell there's already been, improvement and leaps and bounds since, Don't Bother Me, which is fantastic anyway. But to hear this is the first thing he's contributed since I Need You from Help. You can tell he's already making his music darker in tone and theme. Which is essentially addressing someone and say, look, you're not original in anything you do. You're always looking to other people to tell you what you should think. So think for yourself. And I'll follow you because I like you or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Becca, what do you have to add to that?
Not really much. I think Garrett kind of hit the nail on the head. The lyrical themes are just great. And just seeing George evolve, especially since he's my favorite Beatle. I'm a bit partial. I love this song.
Yeah.
Peter was mentioning that George is his favorite Beatle too.
Nice.
My favorite Beatle, mostly because we have the same birthday, but also because he's, he's like one of the lesser
I was supposed to
known-
have the same birthday as him, but I was born a little early.
George is probably my favorite Beatle too, though.
He's my number 2. After John, because John.
My favorite's Ringo. I'm just kidding.
No one says that.
Except for
I bet
except
you
for the
love
middle-aged
Octopus's
women.
Garden,
Except for the middle-aged women who found him attractive when they were little.
Right.
What was I thinking?
Anyway,
Cougars.
This may be this is not my favorite George Harrison songs, though. I much prefer, like, even on this album, If I Needed Someone.
Yeah,
I love that song.
Like, this song's okay, but I don't love it.
sure. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a good one.
Or even I Love I Need You, which you mentioned earlier, more
Yeah.
than this.
this is. I mean, the thing is with George is that he doesn't have as many songs as John or Paul. So for me, I'm kind of biased and say that I love every single one.
This
And-
feels like the second of the two. Like, he got If I Need, because there was sort of an unspoken rule that he got 2 songs per album.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he got If I Needed You, If I Needed Someone on there first, and this is sort of the second one he put on there.
All right.
This doesn't like it as quite as much love
Like,
put
if
into
there
it
were-
as If I Needed Someone.
Like if there were a George Harrison single, that this would be the B-side. To
Yeah.
If I Needed Someone.
Yeah. If I Needed Someone, it is more of the hits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel like
We'll
it's
talk
quite as
about
much
that.
love put into it as If I Needed Someone.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. I do have just like one final thing to add about this song is that there actually is an 18-minute rehearsal audio clip of this song. George Martin, for some reason, decided to record them rehearsing. Basically, George teaching them the song. It's about 18 minutes long. Just to think, well, I'll use it for something. And then when Yellow Submarine, the movie, came out, there's a snippet in the film where you hear the Beatles singing a little bit of the song to help wake up the mayor, who's been frozen by the apple bonkers. It's a little a cappella version of this song, just a couple of seconds. Well, that's taken from this rehearsal clip. So
That's where that's from.
So try and find it on YouTube. There is a full audio rehearsal of this song. So
Last you checked, of course.
It
could change in the months between.
Well, unless the Beatles decide to put it out legitimately,
Yeah.
which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Which would
In
not
fairness,
be. It wouldn't surprise me at
It
this
not
point.
being out legitimately has never stopped anyone from taking things down on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's never stopped copyright laws.
Okay. Yeah. So with that, we're gonna take a break. We're talking about Rubber Soul here on Triple Threat, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Tom. Just a reminder that if you like what you hear on Triple Threat and you want to be notified when new episodes come out, then be sure to click that big red subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We upload at least one episode a month, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Okay, back to the show.
And welcome back to Triple Threat. We're talking about the Beatles album Rubber Soul giving its 50th anniversary celebration, and we're continuing the track listing. And the next song we're going to talk about is a song called "The Word," which, spoiler alert, is love. This again has always been one of my favorites. So this is one that even kind of this day I would consider it like probably a weak link because it's a nice poppy song. But again, I like it and I still do like it.
Sure.
So
As for The Word, I think it's okay. This is definitely one of the weaker ones for me too.
It's not great. Like it's not great.
Yeah.
It's better in love.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's put with other better things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because it's got a nice little bit of it, but it's just not
It's-
quite. It's not quite enough to make a full song.
Yeah, it's got good moments, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not a memorable song. After listening to the album a couple times, I still couldn't tell you how it sounded.
Well, there you go. But again, this is
I actually do like it. It's kind of sort of that weakest link thing.
Yeah.
like you still like it, but it's not exactly the greatest song that's on this album. So let's move on to.
Well, actually, real quick.
Oh, sure.
As mediocre as we're making it sound, it's actually kind of a pretty important song for the Beatles, both like in their career and personally for John, because this is the song that Yoko first heard and said, hey, I want to get the lyrics from this, so I'm going to go visit the Beatles and get lyrics from this, and then they met. That was important for him in that way, and also, what some people would say the beginning of the end, but it's...
Damn it, John.
Another important bit about The Word is that it introduced to John this first idea of love being a conquering force, because he mentions the word is love, and it's a very powerful thing, and that'll eventually get to all you need is love. So that would kind of define their direction for a little while.
I didn't know that. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, he said that in a couple interviews.
All right. Well, then let's move on to the next song. This is Michelle. If you have the vinyl,
My bell.
This ends side one. What's going on?
Stop. Nothing. He was quoted.
Oh, I said my bell. No, I had a coworker named Michelle, so I used to sing it a lot.
Of course you did.
Well, this is
Two coworkers named Michelle.
Do you sing it a lot?
No.
well, it is a very lovely song. It's actually something that I didn't even know. It's actually like not an old song, but this is something that Paul sort of would make up at parties when he was still in Liverpool, because he was trying to, I guess score with the ladies, because he could speak a bit of French, and John came to him and said, hey, remember that song you used to sing as a kid? We need material for the album. You should finish it up. And so he did. And this again has always been not really always been one of my favorites. There was a time when I sort of didn't like it, and I did think it was a little bit too sappy. But now I really like it on the album, and it's important in Beatle history, because this song gave the Beatles their only Grammy Award for Best Song of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Of all the songs in the Beatles' career, this is the one that actually won them a Grammy for Song of the Year. So I guess I guess that's enough to make
No,
it.
I mean,
make it a great
if
song.
you look for like the Oscars, you'd be surprised at how many great actors never won an award.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All that money.
Yeah. Well,
While Nicolas Cage is a couple, and you'd be surprised at how many great actors don't have awards. It's just the same thing with the Grammys and artists.
It's all about
And singers.
Oh, Leo DiCaprio.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
But let's move on back to the song though.
right.
This
Awesome,
Michelle
though. He
is
deserves
one
all
of
the
my
awards.
favorite. I've said that about a lot of the songs on here. That's
Especially
just
in
how
The
good
Wicker
this
Man.
album is. But
Especially
Michelle is so good.
About raising Arizona.
Guys, shut up. I'm
Sorry.
talking here.
We're talking about Nick Cage.
I
What could be
know.
more important?
Yes, the bees, the bees.
Not the.
How
not
did it
the
burn?
bees.
How did it burn? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Ready
I'm
to seal the
sorry.
Declaration of Independence.
Okay, but I really like Michelle. It is one of my all-time favorite songs, not just of the Beatles, because it's easy to sing. It's got this great little moment in the middle where Paul has to kind of reach up a bit for the lyrics. I love you, that way up there. I can't do it, really.
I love you too.
Yeah, shut up.
We didn't just have a moment.
No.
I had a
Sorry to
moment with
crush
you.
your dreams, pal.
Yeah, but
So I
that
felt it.
that's really cool because it really demonstrates John and Paul writing something together, because it was John that came up with the I love you parts in the middle around everything else that Paul had written. And yeah, I'd also really love the story behind it, how they would how Paul would kind of skulk in the back of a cafe trying to look French and be all moody and things, but he's Paul McCartney. It wouldn't have worked. Yeah, this song is so good. So good.
Yep. Anything to add to that, Becca?
So good.
No, it's just a lovely little song. I mean, I don't dislike it. It's a fairly neutral song for me. Like, it's just good, but it's never done anything special for me.
All right. What about you, Peter?
I don't have any words.
You all right? What about you, Avery? On Michelle?
It's almost like it's overplayed. I mean, I really like it, but I've heard a lot, so it sort of lost its impact on me. Probably in about a couple of years, I'll love it again when I haven't listened to it in a long time.
Sure.
All right. Well, that's fair. All right. Well, then let's move on to the songs on the second side of the album. This side 2 opens with "What Goes On," giving Ringo his vocal on this album and giving him his actual first songwriting credits, because this song is listed as John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Richard Starkey, and Ringo claims he wrote 5 words, and that was enough to give him a credits.
I completely forget the song is on this album every time.
Oh.
Well, here's
This might be the most forgettable song on the album.
that's where I'm
I was
going.
about to say, it's just pretty
Because
forgettable.
Ringo it up, man.
No, Ringo didn't anything up. But the thing is,
No.
well, here's the thing about this song. Like, if you look at it, the album has no covers. But if you look at it, "What Goes On" is the closest that they got to a cover. You know, like
Is Ringo covering the Beatles?
well,
But I only mean like Ringo songs tend to like act naturally. They tend to sound like sort of country-ish covers. This sounds a lot like Act Naturally.
exactly like the guy who did Act Naturally, Bob Owens. The other day I saw you as I walked along the road. You know, like
There was sort of a thing
he
for a
could've
while
done
of
this.
Ringo doing these pseudo country, half country.
Ringo really liked country music. He almost moved to Houston for before he joined the Beatles.
What a dork.
right.
That's why he got labeled as the quiet one. Just stop talking right
No,
now.
he was the
No,
goofy,
George
he
was the quiet one.
George was the quiet one.
Ringo was the goofy one,
Never mind.
right.
which
But-
still
I was calling
applies.
Call him the quiet one because
But
shut
that
up and drum.
But that's what I'm getting at in this. But that's what I'm getting at in this song. You know, this song sounds like the Beatles wrote their own
What's his
like
name was the
like
dead
like,
one?
like wrote their own country song.
What's his name? I forget his name.
Paul's the dead
Two
one.
of us.
No, no.
Two of them are dead.
The
bad
one,
one?
no, the one who spoke even before they were famous.
Pete-
Not
Pete
Pete Best,
Best,
the other
Pete
one.
Best.
Stu Sutcliffe.
Yes, Stu Sutcliffe's the dead one.
Dead one.
Stu Sutcliffe.
Stop.
Stu
That one, which one?
Stu Sutcliffe, the dead Beatle.
Pete
What
Best is the one that got
what about,
angry. Tried to file
See,
lawsuit.
He was just the good-looking one.
Pete Best, the angry Beatle.
He was the sexy
The
one.
lawsuit Beatle.
Does anyone see that Saturday Night Live skit with Eddie Murphy claiming
Oh,
he was
God.
the fifth
Yes,
Beatle?
I have.
There's a
Claire
similar
was
thing
like
in The
Clarence or
Simpsons.
something.
There's a similar thing
And
in
he
The
played the
Simpsons with Apu.
saxophone.
Yeah,
Where
with
Apu
Apu.
claims he's the fifth Beatle.
It's great.
Apu's my favorite Beatle.
Well,
Right.
he hung out with the Beatles.
Yeah, but if I want to talk about this real quick, thank you.
Welcome.
You want to hear a
I don't
song?
know.
Yeah, hit it, Apu.
No, I really like What Goes On. I don't think it's the most forgettable, because for me that would be like You Won't See Me or
Have fun being wrong.
maybe Wait. I don't know.
I like Wait.
But yeah, I've always liked Ringo's voice because it's so different from anything else you'd hear in the Beatles, and really anything else. Period. Yeah, I just have a nice little moment with this song. It's nice. Shut up.
I haven't heard Let It.
It's
Is there a
nice,
Ringo song
shut
on Let It
up.
Be?
There's not.
There's not, because I was thinking there's one on every album, but there's not on Let It Be, is there?
No.
No, there's not. But Ringo had to get his contribution on this album, and my other
'Cause that's the other unofficial rule, like the unspoken rule. That
No,
George
they-
got
no,
two,
they
Ringo
didn't.
got one.
It wasn't unspoken. It was like
It was spoken?
We gotta have a Ringo spotlight on this album,
Well, especially since
unless it's Let It Be.
Because it seemed to be like George got two, Ringo. Was George official?
Ringo
Because I
should
thought
have
George,
made
at least the
George,
George one
they
was
would-
unspoken.
It was just whatever he had at the time. He just
yeah, but
wasn't
it
as
was never
prolific.
spoken. But there was sort of an unofficial rule that he only got two.
well, see, the funny thing is that in America, Ringo was one of the most popular, probably the most popular of all the Beatles in America. But in America, what they do with this song, they took it right off the album.
What are you gonna do?
And my other thought of why it's a little bit, it's why
Did
it's a
the
little
Beatles
bit.
actually pick that though? In fairness, I bet that was marketing.
No,
guys
no,
did
that
all
was
that.
marketing.
It was
That was
marketing,
marketing.
totally.
Because, like as I
All
mentioned,
marketing makes dumb decisions.
well,
sometimes.
like as I mentioned earlier, they were trying to get the album to sound a lot more folk, and this one like has a lot of electric going through it.
You said Paul marketing.
yeah.
Poor marketing.
All marketing. But what I was
Yeah,
getting,
you're
but what I was getting at is why another reason why to me this song is a little unforgettable is especially when you listen in headphones. Ringo's voice is in one ear, and in the other ear you're listening to George, play the electric guitar. Well, sorry, try to play electric guitar because most of the time it sounds like he's kind of just like muting the strings, not sure. Oh, do I hit on this note? Do I hit on this note?
No,
And it's funny to listen to.
I like it.
It's even funnier because Ringo's vocal part plays in my deaf ear.
That's
Oh,
Your dead
no.
ear.
Listening to stereo mixes in headphones when you're hearing
Yeah,
impaired is
she
a
can
real
hear out of
treat.
one
Let me
ear.
tell
Like in
you.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Mhm.
So when you go back to the alternate future, you'll know you're in there because you can hear out of that ear again.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Well, then let's move on to the next song. Track 9 is "Girl." Another song that when I was younger I totally didn't understand, and frankly I don't know if I still understand it like 100%. But again, I love it. It's like it's so mysterious sounding. The way like it's kind of slow in the beginning, and John kind of brings you in and says, "Is there anybody that's going to listen to my story?" And then he sets up the girl. I mean, of course, he never reveals who the girl is, but I think that kind of adds to the mysteriousness of this song. And John being the mature writer at this point, to me is really cool to listen to this track.
Yeah, this is an awesome one. Like, again, this is one of my favorite all-time songs.
Mhm.
Mainly because the first time I heard it was on the Across the Universe soundtrack, which, even though it's just like the first line and one chorus,
Doesn't this open
Yeah.
Across the Universe?
yeah,
Yeah.
it sets the tone for the first half of the movie anyway, beautifully. The second half gets weird, but that's another topic.
Mhm.
But yeah, I always liked it from there, and then to hear it in its original form was just so nice. I really like the tone of it. It's much darker and very, very moody for the Beatles at this time.
It's just a really good song. Like, I agree with what Garrett said about like the darker tone to it. Really, the mystery is what makes it. Although, like, even with the dark tones and the mystery and just like being an all-around good song, you can't help but laugh because they were just all really stoned and they decided to just sing the word "tit" for harmonies.
Yes.
Like, it's really great when you take it seriously as a song until you remember that they just did that on purpose because they were baked as hell.
Yeah.
And it just like you're like, oh wow, this is such a good, beautiful song. And then you remember that the Beatles sat around and thought it'd be a good idea to sing very subtly about tits.
Well, they had a character named Jeremy Boob, so
Oh God.
Jeremy, boob.
Yeah, but then after they did that, George Martin, who was probably the definitely fifth Beatle, came out to them and said, "Boys, were you singing dit there or tit?" And they went, "Oh, dit, George, with a D."
No, of course
Oh
not.
yeah, George, definitely D, definitely with D. And he goes, "All right, good." And then they just look at each other and go. So, yeah.
Which is even funnier because if you have the sheet music for this and it's written out, it says toot toot toot.
No.
So,
Toot toot.
yeah, the sheet music like legitimately will say toot toot toot.
Bullshit.
Sure.
So so you're not singing about tits, you're singing about farts or whatever.
That's so much
Right,
better.
okay.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
just be over here with my toots.
Shake your toots for me.
What about you, Peter?
Oh, I might be the only man in this boat, but I don't like the song. It's my least favorite one, just because I don't like the swingy jazz kind of vibe it gives. Because it seems like just something you'd hear when you like walk into like this sleazy club filled with cigarette smoke and
What Stacey
weird
clubs are you
people.
going to?
Sign me up.
You hanging out at dive bars, Peter?
No, but I don't think
That's
it's just
just
this.
what I picture. I mean,
I
like,
think you
Sure,
hear that,
sure.
that cherry pie song, not this.
no, it's like no.
I don't mind that image. I think it's very appropriate, but I just
I mean-
think of it as better.
It's more just the style of music. It's
Sure.
I respect it that it's the most different song on the entire album. It stands alone. It's the
Yeah.
cheese. But
Okay.
I
I
can.
don't like it.
All right. All right.
Uh,
All right. So.
You skipped over me.
All right.
Yes, girl.
I'll
What do you
put,
think?
I'll put half a foot in that boat with you. This song's okay. I don't love it. I don't hate it.
It's just kind of like
It's just kind of there.
middle of the road. All right. Well, then let's move on to the next track. This is "I'm Looking Through You,"
You're
Which-
not the same.
That's the one.
Yeah.
and you are not the same. All right. Well, we'll start with Peter on this one. Peter, your thoughts on "I'm Looking Through You"?
Oh, this is my favorite song because like that piano guitar riff just comes out of nowhere and it's like, oh, hey, I like this.
It's like an attack.
Yep.
Yeah. I really like that too. This is a good one. Definitely.
Yeah.
I like the melody on it, the lyrics on it. Yeah,
But not much to it, really.
I mean, no,
It's
it's
just a solid song. It's just
yeah,
a good song.
Right. It shows Paul is a good songwriter. You know, he can just write a simple song with guitar, piano, drums, whatever, and still, make a nice sounding tune out of it.
Mhm.
And what really strikes me is that there is a version of this track on one of the Beatles anthologies where it's totally different. It's a lot slower. It has a different vibe. If you don't, so I would just say, go look at that up. It's, but the fact that they had to go and change it to this version in the matter of what was it, 2 months that they recorded this album, to me, it's just really awesome. But I've always liked this track. I kind of, put them side by side with "You Won't See Me," how Paul's girl maybe isn't treating him right, and I think the attacks in the chorus kind of really bring out that point, because when Paul goes into that chorus when he sings "You're not the same," he sings a little bit more furious and
Yeah.
and it's a great and it's a great vocal attack.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Becca, do you have anything to add to "I'm Looking Through You"?
I definitely agree about the vocal attack, just followed by the riff attack. Like the chorus just shakes you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good switch between moods.
Yeah. What about you, Avery?
What? Oh, I love it.
Okay, great.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have much more to add. It's really fun.
Okay. I will add one last thing about this track, kind of on a collector's note. We talked about the album being sent here in the U.S. to sort of capitalize on the folk scene. Evidently, whoever sent the tapes to the U.S. to print the records probably didn't wait for the final mixing. So, legitimately, on the U.S. stereo copy of this album, the song begins dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun,
A
dun.
couple of false starts.
You hear
on
Paul
it.
start the song twice, mess up, and then start the third time, and then begin the song. So whoever sent the tape to the U.S. didn't know that the beginning was going to be trimmed off. So it's a mistake, and it's sort of become a collector's item now. So just a little note for those who want to go find those things.
It's kind of like Green Day, "Time of Your Life."
Oh yeah, dun dun
Yeah,
dun
like
dun
that.
dun. That's great. Anyway, all right, so let's move on to the next track. This is probably one of my all-time favorite songs by anybody. This is "In My Life." I mean, even Rolling Stone on their 500 songs put this as high as number 23 on their 500 greatest songs of all time. Funny enough, that I did not hear the Beatles version first myself. There was a show that my mother used to watch called Provenance, and I can't remember who did it, but it was a female artist who did this song. And so I remember when my dad played, all the Beatles albums for me. This one surprised me because I legitimately thought, I didn't place the Beatles in the 60s. I legitimately thought they were covering a soap opera TV show theme song. But the lyrics are just great. It's John looking back on his life, but in my opinion, not in a schmaltzy kind of way.
Have you heard the story about how this was written?
No, do you know it?
Yeah.
He was trying to write a sort of more inspirational song, like you might have heard from Dylan or someone, and so he's just trying to write what he's doing in his day, and he got so frustrated because he's writing like how I went and got milk and stuff like that, And as he was starting to give up, he wrote that first line. There are places I remember about my life, though some have changed. And that's when the song really came together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Originally, it was just this really awful list of what he did in the day.
Yeah. I think
It's
because
a song about nothing.
Yeah.
It's the Seinfeld song.
It's a Seinfeld song.
Oh, that's how it started.
God.
Anyway, Garrett, what are you thoughts on In My Life?
Yeah, it's a really, really good one. It's one that I have to be in the mood to listen to, that's for sure, because it's a slower number, but definitely that it has this very sort of airy, windswept feel to it. Just looking back on nostalgia and also like looking forward at the same time. It's probably the most mature song he'd written up to this point, maybe ever. Yeah, I really dig it, especially the piano bit in the middle, which was so ahead of its time.
Well, yeah. Didn't George Martin have to? He have to like slow the track down himself so he could play the piano and then play it at double speed.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a testament to how great it is. Becca, In My Life, what are your?
I think it's one of the most beautiful songs ever.
Mm.
Like, it's just a beautiful, gorgeous, well-written, poignant song. At one point, I did say that I wanted it played at my wedding until I realized I'm a horrible wretch who's dying alone. And having it played at my funeral would be too cliche, so I'm just going to listen to it sometimes and talk about how good it is.
There you go.
Like here.
Yeah, like here.
On the show. Peter, In My Life.
I don't have anything different to say about it. I like it. I would definitely be in the mood to listen to it. It's not something that I would just like play and listen to in the car or anything like that, or when I first wake up or anything.
Right. In the car, you want a better driving song that's on this album. Something like I'm Looking Through You.
Or
Or drive my car.
Or Drive My Car.
Driving a car. It is easy. It is simple.
There you go. Avery, about In My Life.
It's one of those songs that's sort of so good it's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
I'll say there's a really good Johnny Cash version from his later in life albums.
Ooh.
Yes, that's right. Johnny Cash did do a great cover of this.
Ooh,
Well-
I'm intrigued now.
Well, that was like back when he was like covering Hurt and
that was
like Bridge Over Troubled
his
Water.
American series he did right before he died.
Right, and
I listened to another one of those covers.
And if I may, another artist who did a really great version. They shortened it a little bit, but Crosby, Stills and Nash did this song on one of their albums, and they put harmony on the whole song, even the bits on the Beatles version that really don't have harmony. And the da na 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 that's replaced by a harmonica bit, and they do a really fine job. So I'm just going to throw that out there for people to check out also. On this track. And there's also a story, just one last thing about the song, there's a story going around that at Candlestick Park, which ultimately became the Beatles' final concert, is that there's a story going around that the Beatles had finished their set with Long Tall Sally, and they sort of knew going in this was going to be their last concert, and there's a story going around that John played the opening notes of In My Life on his guitar before he left the stage. It's never been confirmed. There is no audio proof of this because the Candlestick Park show was recorded, except it cuts out at the very, very end of Long Tall Sally. So, until someone, finds a better recording in some trash bin somewhere, we'll never hear it. So, just a neat little thing about that. Anyway, so let's move on to the next track. This is Wait, and which is actually, Wait, that's the name of the track. And this is actually one of the older tracks. This was, believe it or not, after doing some research, this was actually recorded for Help, the album.
That makes sense.
And
Wait, help!
yeah, wait, help! And evidently, it was it was not. Obviously it wasn't finished. It was kind of just abandoned. And then for this album, they rescued it. I guess because in need of material, they rescued it, put some overdubs on it, and deemed it worthy of release. And you know what? I'm glad they released it because to me, this is a very fine, pop tune. To me, personally, it's not a very mature song, although it's got some things to it. Wait till I come back to your side. We forget the tears we cried. But it's a really nice poppy sound, and I enjoy listening to it. Every single time. I love it. Becca, what do you think of Wait?
This is one of the ones that kind of grew on me. Like, it never really clicked with me, again, being unfairly stuck on the same album as things like In My Life and Norwegian Wood.
Yeah.
But eventually it just kind of, clicked for me, and I like it now. Like, I'm not totally indifferent towards it. Like, it's a good song, although I never knew that it's supposed to be on Help. That makes a lot of sense now that I hear that. It definitely would make sense in the context of that album as opposed to like in the steps forward on Rubber Soul.
Bingo.
But yeah.
All right. Well, what about you, Garrett?
This one's all right. It's one of the weaker ones for me as well. I like the chorus on it. I'll say that. And the Paul vocal bits, but the John verses are just kind of yeah for me. It just seems like kind of it's hard to come after. It's in my life, as we've mentioned. Like it's hard to come after Norwegian Wood. It just doesn't do it for me all the time.
All right. Would this be like a song that like you'd have to listen in sequence? Really?
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't go out and seek this one. If I were listening to on shuffle, there's a good chance I would skip it.
All right. What about you, Peter?
It's a good song, but it is overshadowed by a lot of the rest of the album.
All right. What about you, Avery?
It reminds me a lot of The Word. I actually really like the song, but it does remind me a lot of The Word. It sort of has nice bits to it, but as a whole, it's not quite strong enough.
It's very jangly, like just like The Word is also like both happy sounding, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, I would agree. You know, it's a little bit, you know, after In My Life, you know, like how can you yeah, exactly, how can you follow that? But wait, you know, I like it where it's sequenced, probably because I'm just so used to it. And
I also think I have a stronger opinion because isn't it Somewhere in Love?
What
isn't Wait You Somewhere in Love? Because I think I have a strong opinion about some of these songs because they're in love.
I don't think it is. I don't think the song is ever used in
No,
love.
I don't think
It's not.
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, then let's move on. This is the second George song, one that we alluded to earlier. This is If I Needed Someone. This one, as I was referencing earlier, this was taken off the album, and I said why, because it was trying to capitalize on like the Byrds' success. Because this song was actually inspired by the Byrds song, the Bells of Remney. The riff is very do 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 do, you know, kind of like this one. George kind of took that riff of Bells of Remney, wrote the melody of just If I Needed Someone to Love, adapted it for his own riff, and in fact sent Roger McGuinn, who was the lead guitarist of the Byrds, sent him an early copy of this album and highlighted this track on the back cover and sent it over to him and said something like, this is for Raj for the riff.
Yeah,
In fairness, though, Bells of Ribney is actually a Pete Seeger song.
That's right.
It's just a cover.
Yeah, it was inspired in that. And the riff, you mentioned the riff is similar. It's actually the same riff.
Well, yeah.
From Bells of Ribney.
Mm-hmm. And they're both played on like electric 12 strings, I think.
Yeah, it's a 12 string. Yeah, this is definitely George paying tribute to the Byrds. It's a really good one. If I Needed Someone.
All the harmonies on it are very reminiscent of the Byrds.
Yeah, I like how the harmonies come into it, how it builds a bit from George's solo vocals to the harmonies. And I just like how it somehow gets a little bit darker at a bit of as the chord changes progresses. Yeah, it's excellent. And it's an interesting message that comes out of it too, that of searching for someone and having someone like as your backup plan, I guess.
Yeah. If I needed someone.
Yeah. Then you're there. You'll always be there if I need someone eventually. But I'm gonna keep my options open. Ouch.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Becca? I know that when we were talking about Think for Yourself, you kind of said that you kind of favored this one.
I don't know which one I favor because I feel like I fall into the same thing as you. As like just every George song is just like, yeah, you go George.
You go George.
Nice.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Nice. Like I like the jingly jangly Byrds-esque riff. I love the lyrics. I just love the song. It's a nice jingly jangly poppy song. Go George. And that's my contribution.
Yeah. Peter, what about you?
Oh, I'm always partial to George songs. I like it. It's upbeat and it is kind of funny to listen to the lyrics. It's like being someone's number two.
Yeah. What about you, Avery? For If I Needed Someone.
This is. I was doing something on my phone. It's taking a survey.
I will say, to buy you a little time here, George does a really good version of this on the Live at Japan album. I always look forward to it on the Live at Japan.
Oh, I was gonna say no. This song actually is one of those songs that actually works really well post-mortem too. Like it's really good in concert for George.
Yeah.
It has a
Yes.
double meaning.
Yes,
It has
very
like
good.
Photograph has it too, and there's a couple of other songs that have this where they work well as double meanings.
Yeah.
It could be about a relationship, or it could be about someone passing away.
Eric Clapton did that at the concert for George, and he did an incredible version.
And Ringo also does a really good version of Photograph, which is a great double meaning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, and I do have one like sort of comment about the lyrics, because when I was young, I didn't understand this. There's the line like what you're mentioning earlier, how it kind of changes and said, "How'd you come another day?" It may not be like it's kind of like dark in that area. Well, after that, when it goes back to the verses and it's the same melody, there's the line, "Carve your number on my wall, and you will get a call from me."
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of George's humor, because it's not write your number or leave me your number. It's carve your number.
Yeah.
Like with a knife, and I'm like, oh,
something
what?
very permanent, right?
Yeah, and it's permanent, and maybe you'll get a call from me.
Yeah.
Like when I was young, I was always like, carve.
yeah.
Yeah, but now I look at it and think you're right. That's George's humor. The song is about being someone's like number 2 lover. So but go ahead and leave me your number.
Don't
and
lose it or wash it off.
Yeah.
There you
Because
go.
odds are I'll be coming back to you eventually.
Yeah. All right then. Well,
I intend to be playboying around like I do.
well, with that said, let's move on to the final track on this album. This is "Run for Your Life." One thing that I found interesting, again, doing a little bit of research, is that it's been talked about how John was sued for "Come Together" for taking the line "Here come old flat top grooving up slowly" from Chuck Berry's song "You Can't Catch Me." Well, the opening lines to this song are actually taken from an Elvis tune. I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than to be with another man. I don't know if it's taken directly, but it's sort of playing on. There's an Elvis Presley tune called "Baby Let's Play House," and that lyric is in there. Is in there. I'd rather
That was a raging hit.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And again, even as a kid, like this song, I guess should have scared me as a kid, because it's about running for your life, and someone's gonna kill you or whatever. But as a kid, I still smiled and was just like, better run for your life if you can.
It's one of those really good examples of sort of juxtaposition between tone and word and lyrics.
Yeah, it's dark.
As tone, it's like Lady Madonna's the same thing, where it's very, very poppy in tone.
Yeah,
but the lyrics are actually really like Lady Madonna is about a woman not being able to feed her kids.
Yeah,
it's
But it's very, very poppy.
It's black
Same
humor,
thing with
yeah.
this.
It's got a great beat you can dance
This is
to.
a really poppy, upbeat melody, but it is about a man trying to kill his significant other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's black humor. I love it. I mean, that's what Maxwell Silverhammer is, and I love that song to death. Yeah, "Run for Your Life." This is a really good one. I kind of wish that it didn't end the album, because I feel like it doesn't quite. It doesn't work as a finisher in my book.
It leaves you hanging.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Becca? What are your thoughts overall on this song?
Definitely getting you on the black humor thing. Like, it's all jingly, happy. Hey, we're the Beatles. We're playing another nice little pop song, and then he's going to kill the girl.
Yeah.
You know she did.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing about John in this song is that, damn it, you believe him, the way he's singing this.
Of course you do.
Let this be a sermon. I mean every word I said, baby. I'm determined, and I'd rather see you dead.
And you're like, okay, John, calm down here.
And he just
Gentle words.
and he just keeps on singing. Which leads me to like a very quick point. There was a series on the radio called the Lost Lennon Tapes, and they played like an unreleased version of this, but only like a minute of it, where it had a different vocal from John, and just a little demonstration of how it sounded. It's like, well, I'd rather see you dead, little girl, where he sounded frightening on it.
Oh no.
So talk about the humor. I mean, was that chosen for the album? No, because it was a straight vocal, because we're the Beatles and it's poppy and it's going to sell 1 million copies. Yeah. And it's just, really funny. Peter, what do you think of Run for Your Life?
It's fun. Black humor is fun.
Mhm.
I don't have anything different to contribute.
Yeah. That was my final thought. I know that Garrett and Becca kind of touched on it, but like, do you, and this is a question for all of us, do you think it makes a good album closer?
No.
I mean,
I've already said I don't think so.
what would have been a better song?
In My Life, maybe? Because you're looking back?
Maybe.
I think it does, but I think it doesn't sort of setting everything off on a weird tone.
Yeah.
I kind of like that it sets it off and ends it in this really weird offbeat, sort of like how Abbey Road ends in Her Majesty.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Avery too. I mean, one, I'm so used to it being the closer.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to judge just because it is.
But I do kind of like it because it's almost like, I hate to say it, but John's like, hey, hope you enjoyed the album. Now get out of here.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion.
Yeah, sounds pretty John.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that an album should explode at the beginning and the end, generally. That's why I like how this begins with Drive My Car, and Help begins with Help, and
But what
leaves
albums really do that? Oh, I guess Abbey Road. No, Abbey Road doesn't, but it
I was
kinda
thinking
does.
like Please Please Me is a great example.
1, 2, 3,
because
4.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then
And
it ends
twist
with
and-
Twist and Shout.
Dun,
I mean,
dun,
duh.
dun. Yeah.
Does Who's Next? What does Who's Next end on? Yeah, it does.
Bubba O'Reilly.
No, ends
No,
with Won't
who's-
Get Fooled Again.
Won't It Go
and Won't
again?
Get Fooled
Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
Right.
That's just a personal thing for me, and it generally holds true. But there are some albums, of course. There are always exceptions to rules in music.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's all the tracks on the album. The last thing that I wanted to mention was that there was one song which we're not going to talk about, but I just want to mention here that there was one song that was recorded sort of in just 2 takes. It was a 12-bar blues, which was called 12-bar original. To me, that kind of always surprises me because I'm like, did the Beatles not think they would have enough material, so they just did this 12-bar blues thing? It was like 6.5 minutes. It's on Anthology for like 2 minutes. Listen to it, and then, in my opinion, don't listen to it really more than 3 times because it's fine. It's just really sloppy because that song alone proves why the Beatles are not a jam band.
I think it's really good.
Well, then.
Screw
I
me,
didn't even
right?
bother to listen to it if that tells you anything.
Anyway, so let's wrap this show up and give this album a rating. I'll start really quickly because my rating, I've had it ever since I started listening to this album to prepare for the show. I'm Tom, the guy. I'm the guy who likes everything. So I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10. Whatever your perfect score rating is, I just love it. Avery, what about you?
I give it a banana out of an apple.
So that's good.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
All right, then.
All right, so I'm gonna say that's good. So we get a good rating from Avery. Becca.
I mean, in fact, like giving it a personal rating, like I just have a strong personal attachment to it. So I'd be like, oh, 5 out of 5. But like on closer inspection, and just looking at it for what it's worth, probably like a 4.75. Like it's still really, really good. There's definitely some filler, and you can't put them on a pedestal just because they're the friggin' Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Peter, what about you?
So I think there are a lot of great songs on this album, but I can't listen to the whole album all at once. So because I just get tired of all the harmonies that they have in every song. So I'm gonna have to give it a 2 out of 5 as an album.
Wow. You're probably one of the first people to ever take the Beatles down a peg.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Suck it, Beatles.
Hot
Don't
damn.
care what I think.
All right, and
You should have heard that you asshole. I tore the entire group in my pop music class. Please.
Oh.
Taking the Beatles down a step is not hot news.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what about you, Garrett? What would you rate the album?
I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 TARDISes. Yeah, solid, really good album. Not my favorite.
Some tracks just don't do it for you or whatever.
Yeah, it's got weak links like most albums do.
Right, but to me, I'm in the same boat with Avery. Like, even to me, the weakest link, which would be like, What Goes On or whatever. To me, those are still good songs. And you know what? And you know what? In my opinion, it's good. And you know what? Even the songs that are really, really great, like Norwegian Wood in My Life, kind of, just bring it back up. And so I'm just like, you know what? It's still a damn good album, and it's really important in the career. And I love every song of it. So that's kind of why I'm giving it a perfect rating.
Cool.
So that's our review of Rubber Soul, the album. What do you think of the album? Write to us on our page. You know how to get in touch with us. Subscribe if you haven't already, and give that like button a click.
Do you think it's a banana out of an apple?
Oh, definitely.
How many TARDISes would you give it?
5 out of 5.
4.
Yeah. All right. So thanks. So thank you all for listening. So for Triple Threat, my name is Tom Ruzzi, and I have been joined by Garrett Hicks,
Yeah.
Peter Scharff,
Uh-huh.
Avery Spencer,
Me.
and Becca Cristino.
Be seeing you.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you later. All right. Bye bye.
Da-da-da-da-da-dum.
Hey everyone. Thanks for listening to our episode about the 50th anniversary of the Beatles album Rubber Soul. We'll be back soon with another anniversary show about the Pink Floyd album Wish You Were Here's 40th anniversary. So in the meantime, check out the other episodes of the show, check us all out on our social media sites, and subscribe if you haven't already. Before we go, I want to give some shoutouts to 2 new subscribers, Tino Capella Music 101 and Ciro Craig Hell Nation. I apologize if I mispronounced any of those names. Thanks for subscribing, and let us know what you think of the show and what you'd like to see us talk about in the future. Finally, we have officially left our previous website, mixcloud.com. We won't take the page down, but we will not upload any new episodes there. If you want the full details, you can hear about it along with a short playlist of songs in our goodbye episode titled We've Moved. So guys, thank you so much for subscribing and listening. Thanks to my good buddy Peter Scharff for coming on again, and we will see you all next time. Farewell. Yeah. Sorry.
It didn't cut off.
Unfortunately, I wish that was saved for posterity.
It did. Well, let's just do the introductions just
sure.
one more time. What about you, Peter?
Go to me last.
All right. Well,
I don't know what I'm gonna
What
say.
if I say go to me last? Is that too impressive?
We still got me in here.
Never
All
friends.
right.
Oh no, this is completely the red. You're gonna cut this out. Can you take your shoes off? Because this is a really nice rug.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh man.
I just wanted to let Tommy finish speaking first, so he didn't cut him off halfway.
You can keep your shoes on. Don't worry.
Now take your shoes off, Becca.
Get off the rug.
Way ahead of you, champ.
She already is. She's just like one of us. All right.
One of us.
All right. We good?
You cold?
All right.
It's the best rug.
Yeah, it's super soft.
Feels like a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
You skinned one.
Everybody pet it.
How do you know I did?
How do you know you didn't
Oh, I
skin?
didn't say you didn't. Just that's exactly what it feels like.
Didn't know you had a
Didn't
leather
it
face
fatten-
thing
didn't it
going on
fatten
here.
up quite a bit to make a rug this size, though.
Sorry, I have cookie in my mouth.
Good. Oh god.
All right.
But new.
Yeah.
You guys froze.
We're still here.
Now you're back.
We're just standing very still.
Avery, did you have anything to say?
Well, this song really made me feel like a nowhere man. God, that was the worst, Tommy. That was the worst. I've been shaking my head for the last 3 minutes.
I said that.
Said he had no direction, like a nowhere
Yeah,
man.
I feel you.
I just been
Alright,
shaking my
hang on,
head
what's the
since you said that.
Location. Whoop.
Well, what?
She's changing locations.
Okay.
See ya.
Well, that's good. This is good anyway because I'm gonna cut your comment out.
I don't shut
No,
What?
I'll just throw it in the outtakes.
only if you cut your comment out.
Okay, fair game. I'll cut my comment out.
Oh lord.
Oh.
See,
Yeah.
see,
Nothing much.
see,
Video chat.
see, you leave me in charge of the editing, so you don't know what's gonna go in or out.
Hi.
I volunteered.
Yeah,
Once.
yeah, you know. See ya.
Mm.
I have to hold myself up in the laundry room.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
You sitting on the dryer?
Just as long as nobody comes and does laundry.
Well,
Yeah. Or if they have change in their pocket.
Why did we start listening to dubstep there?
Ah, you're spitting on me, you guys.
Show him more. It's funny.
You're welcome.
sorry about that. You good?
Did you see Red Foos on Dancing with the Stars?
Who?
That's
I
the only one I recognize.
Don't even care anymore.
Wait, from LMFAO?
Yeah. I saw like it played in someone's room. Like the only one I recognized on the show was Red Foo.
They're irrelevant now.
Well,
Remember when they were the biggest thing and they just fell off the face of the earth?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
2 weeks.
One-hit wonders.
They were in Until Discovered.
Two hit wonders. You had Party Rock Anthem and Sexy and I Know It. Come on, man.
Oh, okay.
They were in
2
Until
months,
Discovered.
Yeah,
They were one of your role models,
they were.
along with Captain America.
Moving on.
I had posters of them.
Moving
All right,
on.
we're going to talk about one more song.
Moving on.
We're going to talk about one more song,
You
and
didn't
then
let
we're
me
going to
talk
take a
about
break.
You didn't let me talk about Nowhere Man.
Well, okay. All right.
I have the same birthday as Hitler.
Well.
That's a grand old time for you. Wait a minute.
That was probably.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Wait a minute. That's also 420, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say his birthday is 420.
Your birthday's 420.
Oh, I've got all the jokes. Oh my god.
Your
Yeah.
birthday's 420.
I can imagine kind of what you were saying. I can imagine John.
She stands alone, and you are lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
I'm not like this. I didn't get that joke. But I did say the cheese.
If you're lactose intolerant, I heard the cheese stands alone, and if
Uh-huh.
you are lactose intolerant and you eat cheese, you're going to shit everywhere.
That was
Yeah.
a long way to go for a pun.
But
It was a metaphor, and you like Drax over your head.
Drax?
But you didn't catch
Drax
it.
from Guardians of the Galaxy? Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, because he doesn't understand our Earth customs. Okay.
You
All right.
guys, you
I was thinking
guys.
of the Centaurian, but that's not even his name.
No, it's not.
It's Drax.
Drax.
Anyway.
All right. All right.
Uh,
All right. So.
You skipped over me.
All right.
Yes, girl.
I'll
What do you
put,
think?
I'll put half a foot in that boat with you.
By the way, that's a song that is totally about drugs. That John admitted.
Tripping, yeah.
Yep. Still,
Yeah.
still wants
Like,
number. Still wants number one.
Yeah, yeah.
I've heard it was about prostitutes.
No,
It's like
no.
that one Beatles interview where they're talking about the lyrics from this era. They're like, excuse me, some of your lyrics can be misinterpreted as being about prostitutes and lesbians. What would you like to say about that? And then Paul just looks at them and goes, well, we just wanted to write some songs about prostitutes and lesbians.
I know I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of defines this era, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being silly and half baked.
Right. Well,
essentially.
Yeah.
We're all fake.
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
Avery, guys.
so
Can we get some water from the fridge?
I don't know, I'm drawing. Why am I drawing?
Yeah,
a blank?
like some
What is the
water
song
bottles, actually.
on this album? It's on this side. It's on side 2.
Yeah.
It's a quieter song.
The album's right there.
Not no. I've been looking at. I can't
You think
remember
of
which one
Michelle?
it is. It's quiet, and then it's got the just the really like poppy guitar in the middle of it. That's my favorite one.
Stay.
I'm gonna find it. It's
Might be the word.
No. Well, Michelle's quiet.
Yeah, but he says it's got a like
It's got-
intense
it's got,
guitar
like-
solo in the middle of it.
not. No, it's not. It's a it's not a solo. It's a riff. It happens like it's like the pre-chorus. Or
Are
something.
you thinking of In My Life?
It might be.
Where it's got the sped up piano in the middle of it?
Don't use those coasters.
Bum,
Those
da, da,
coasters
da,
are really
ba-dum,
crappy.
ba-dum, bum,
Alright.
bum, bum, da-da-dum, da-dum,
Well-
dun-dun, dun,
well,
dun,
you
dun,
gotta
dun,
find
dun,
this
dun,
out.
dun,
Here's a good coaster.
Well, I'm looking through.
These
Like,
lemon
Wait,
ones.
wait
Well-
isn't quiet.
well, I'm looking through. Is not quiet, but it has a riff during the chorus.
Bam, bam, da-da-dun, da-dun, da-da-dun, da.
That one.
That's I'm looking through you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll
That's
talk about it. We'll talk about it. That's the one.
Like there's gonna be an impression of my leg in the carpet.
Yeah.
But it's just, my leg's asleep right now.
Oh, I see.
Look at it. Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That is my leg and foot.
These are better because he's put stuff on it.
Yeah.
These like go
we even
straight.
got
Wanna
Beetle.
go straight through these.
We even got Beetle coasters. We are geeking out over here.
Look at you.
Those are my better coasters. The other coasters are just like cardboard, so they get soaked completely when you put Slim on them. They're the worst.
Oh, yeah, that's never.
Yeah, that defeats the purpose of being a coaster.
The Instagram is blowing up.
Hey, Becca.
What'd you do on Instagram?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Just out of
Yeah,
curiosity,
in the
did you
past.
Post a selfie.
No.
Did
I
you
posted
once
a
did you once make
concert poster that I wanted to go to?
did you once make a comment once that you liked the Killers?
Yes.
I
Like-
the Killers.
Like how much of the
How do you
Killers?
defend yourself?
Like just Hot Fuss and like nothing else. Like some people that I know, or just like their whole thing.
I kept up from through Hot Fuss, Sam's Town, and the one with Spaceman on it. I haven't been keeping up as much lately.
Day
Like
and
I
age.
like an amount of their stuff, but like
You
not
just went into the
super
Matrix.
fan, but not like totally casual.
Okay, yeah.
You just went into the Matrix, Becca.
Yeah, no, this room does that. Like, watch, it's motion activated.
Oh. You look like you were answering a serious political question, like about some scandal, when you were talking about the Killers. You look like you were talking about some political scandal.
Well, like they only have one album after the one with Spaceman's called Day and Age. They don't. They,
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember picking that up when it came out, and like, that's about where it stopped for me with like progressing through their stuff.
They've only had one album out since then. It's called Battleborn.
I actually haven't listened to it.
I have.
Sam's Town is
Or am I?
is my
I don't
favorite.
know if I'm in there. I didn't know you were in there.
Sam's Town is probably good. Probably my favorite
It's
too.
dark. I'm gonna trip
Same
over
sounds
something.
good.
Right. You ever cut through my room?
Well, they
All
also
roads lead to Rome.
You want your seat back?
I do actually.
Okay, you can have it back. There's an open spot.
I
You have to
appreciate
fight
it.
for it though.
To the death.
you're not even taking your spot on the couch.
I don't care. You take his spot. I don't give a shit.
Anyway,
This chair's pretty.
It is. I
legitimate.
bet it's.
It is.
comfy.
I got it for
looks.
like $200.
It looks wicked comfy.
No, I didn't. I got it for
Most
like
of
I got it for like
the furniture-
$50.
The most I paid for a chair was 18 because it was from IKEA.
That was I got. For,
well,
no,
there you go.
It was like 50 or 25.
How long
The
did
thrift
it
store
last you?
hadn't priced it
I've had
yet.
since I was like 12.
Somebody brought it into like a thrift store and they hadn't priced it yet.
Is your
And the policy was like $25 or $50 per chair, but it was usually really chairs. So they grabbed it and they said, "What's the price of the chair?" Like $50 or $25, and they picked it up before they realized how good a chair they had.
There was a guy on my block. I might have told the story where he had a chair. He had a chair like out by his mailbox, and it looked like the kind of chair that like movie directors sit in. Like it was actually like it was kind of a really nice chair. And I saw it, and I kind of thought, well, maybe he's giving it away. So I rang the doorbell and I asked him, are you selling it? He said, no, just take it. So I did, and then I took it home. And then I think about 2 weeks later, I sat on it and I proceeded to break it.
nice?
Well, they should pay for it.
Well, no, that's right. I didn't pay for it, but it also made me a little self-conscious about my weight.
Well, those chairs are infamous for breaking because I think my choir director had like 3 of them through the course of a year.
Well, I also bought it right around the time of the Oscars. That was gonna be the chair that I was gonna sit in, and then it
How
broke.
appropriate.
And then
Have
well,
your name stenciled on the back.
well, it didn't. It was actually like some telephone company was like
Oh.
stenciled on the back, and then I broke it, and then our we had a fire in our house in the same night.
I was gonna ask, does it look like Link peed himself?
Let me see. Let me
Does
see.
it? Show Becca it.
I mean, yellow.
Does
was
it look like
unfortunate-
Link peed himself?
Yellow was an unfortunate color.
A little bit. I can. Yeah,
Okay.
it does a little.
I don't ask you what you think this one looks like. Tell me, show her this one.
This one is of Luigi. Oh,
Up.
It's not
The
in
no
the.
hands missionary.
Look at me, I'm a penis.
It's some questionable. At least it's better. It used to be purple. Like the original model.
It was
original models they
purple!
were showing was purple. At least they made it clear.
Waluigi?
that no for just Luigi.
No,
like that's just asking
look
for
at the
trouble.
placement of this. It was originally purple. That stand.
Oh, the
That's
stand.
just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
lord.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm a penis.
Diddy Kong here is melting. Diddy Kong's melting.
How is he melting?
Look at him.
Oh.
No, he looks like he's melting. I see it. Oh god.
Okay.
Do you even know what these
Is there
things?
any other questionable
Do you even know what
Amiibos?
these things are?
They're Meebos, man.
Amiibos, yeah.
All right,
maybe
well-
the thing. I want
Just
the
because
box
he's
with
from
the-
New Jersey
You have to
doesn't
sell
mean
one of
she
your
doesn't
kidneys
know
to get
anything.
one.
I thought you
Yeah.
were just talking about the Nintendo characters in general. So of course,
Oh.
everyone knows who Diddy Kong is.
Of course, Link peed himself.
Of course.
He does that in every game.
He's so nervous.
Probably.
He's so nervous.
That's the best part of
He's so
Twilight
nervous about the
Princess.
adventure ahead. He just pees himself in every game. You don't see it on screen, but you don't
That's
see
the
it.
first level. The first level, you have to try not to pee yourself. You
That's
always
the best part of
live
Twilight
towards the
Princess.
part of the storyline.
All right.
Lord.
Are we ready to?
I'm ready to-
continue.
I'm ready to jump right in and finish this. So it
Let's
just
do it.
depends. All right, I'll bring us back in. And we're back on Triple Threat talking about the Beatles album Rubber Soul celebrating its 50th year anniversary. So we're going to continue with the track listing. The next track is The Word, which, spoiler alert.
What is The
Word? Not the bird?
It's not The Bird. No,
What is the
so-
word?
No,
Have
Unfortunately.
you heard the word?
the word's love.
No.
So, so a bit of a spoiler. So a bit of a spoiler. Can we start this over or something?
No.
Well, since we're already off the rails, remember we played that at my house when we were jamming that one time.
We played The Bird is the word.
We did play that.
I
We
can
played
give
the
you the bird.
Ramones. We played the Ramones version.
Oh, that's right. We did. We were jamming. That was fun.
So yeah, let's start over.
Yeah.
All right. And welcome back to Triple Threat. We're talking about the Beatles album Rubber
The
Soul.
bird.
Damn it, Avery.
No, that bird is flown. We're moving on, okay? All right.
Oh
You want to do it again?
my
Yeah.
God.
You wanna
Seriously,
do it
though,
again?
We gotta get through this because like it's harder for me to stay and talk. For
That bird
forever
is
in
flown
college,
'cause he's a
so, like,
nowhere
we gotta,
man.
Like, I kind of have to go. So.
Yeah.
We got it. What?
I can't sit in the laundry room all night.
Yeah, guys,
Okay.
we
All
gotta go.
Let's go. Let's do it.
We gotta do
Why
this.
She can't stay in the laundry room forever.
Why not?
This is a school night for her.
Just hide in the washing machine.
There you go.
Like crunch it up in
It's where I belong.
Okay.
Washing machine's where I belong.
All right.
I'm gonna put that on my Facebook quotes.
Okay.
Actually, probably be better to hide in the washer. The dryer is smaller.
There you go. And welcome back to Triple Threat. We're talking about the Beatles album Rubber Soul, the 50th anniversary, and I'm gonna smack you across your face.
I'll be quiet this time.
One more time.
So, like, normally I don't get pissy about how long these take, but guys, we never shut up.
You know,
Yeah.
we
Like,
know.
I've been checked on like 3 times by actual human beings I've interacted
Right.
with.
Believe me, I'm trying to do this.
All
I
right.
know you are. I know. Don't worry.
Let's
All
be
right.
serious for just a second, guys.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And welcome back to Triple Threat. We're talking about the Beatles album Rubber Soul, giving its 50th anniversary celebration. And we're continuing the track listing. And the next song we're going to talk about is a song called The Word, which, spoiler alert, is love. This, again, has always been one of my favorites. This is one that even kind of this day I would consider it like probably a weak link because it's a nice poppy song. But again, I like it and I still do like it.
Sure.
So that's...
I was just disappointed the word wasn't the bird.
Well,
God, Becca, all this time and you derailed it again.
Yeah, you're
All right.
right.
At least we got
Oh.
through the intro.
I was fighting laugh because he talks so fast. He clearly wanted to get there before anyone spoke.
Before Avery
Anyway.
said something.
I literally was biting my tongue.